Clash of the Simons.
The
Data v PropTech.
Ooh.
Tool or trap?
Just answer this with one word.
Yeah.
Please don't go off on one. You know what you like.
I think we forget we're in sales.
We're in sales, and there's a lot of sales staff out there who are afraid of the telephone.
When the estate agents say to me, I don't have time to listen to a podcast. Does every single viewing you do turn up on time? Fucking never turn up. They're always late, Simon. It just seems indestructible. Estate agents have this hatred for it, yet it's not going anywhere. Our right move sat there going, we get how powerful AI is, but actually do we need to do it because we've got estate agents wrapped around a little finger?
And they do need to hear this gold dust.
So good or bad recruitment can either scale or destroy your agency business. Are you wasting hours on CVs, bad interviews, and paying huge recruitment fees? If so, there's a smarter way. Inside Talent is the Netflix of estate agency recruitment. They hire, train, and retain all under your brand for one simple monthly fee. So, podcast listeners, you're going to love this. Look out and make sure you lock this down. It's 10% off their yearly subscription when you contact the team at Inside Talent and quote #Showdown. Now, you need to check them out, don't you? www.insidetalent.com. Inside Talent, smarter hiring made simple. Welcome to Estate Agent Showdown. Oh my God, we've already had quite a bit of fun in the room this morning, but Simon's just passed me his introduction. So we've got the two Simons here today. Could you believe it? Clash of the Simons. Introducing, in the pink corner.
That's a bit weird.
See, it hasn't taken as long, has it? Simon Whale, a powerhouse of prop tech and opinion. Simon Whale is the founder of Kerfuffle and never one to shy away from calling out industry and political fluff when he sees it.
Thank you for reading out my statement, Matt. That's brilliant there.
All-round good guy, philanthropist, and Chris Finch.
You took it to me. I didn't know if you were on to him.
Yeah, anyway.
It was when you said powerhouse, I thought you were going to call me a shithouse, and I thought, so thanks for that.
You could have done that, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, on the other side, we've got what sort of colour have we got here? Beige corner.
I mean, I am very beige compared to Simon.
In the beige corner, we have Simon Gates. With a sharp eye on data-driven agency and modern marketing, Simon Gates brings frontline experience.
I mean, that's
and a no-nonsense perspective on what actually works in today's market.
What actually
Thanks
works.
for sharing that with us.
Rather than pretending what works. This is like an intervention. You basically just brought me here to embarrass me, haven't you?
100%. So viewers, let's keep embarrassing them, shall we? So, right, big question. Big question. Something that I know that's going to stir up plenty of emotion in you two as two Liverpool fans on what has been a pretty great season for you guys. So we're going to start on football very briefly. Klopp or Slot?
It's like choosing between Shankly and Paisley.
You've got to just choose one.
Or Hodgson and Souness.
Or two of my exes. Yeah, so...
Klopp or Slot? Who's going to go first?
Klopp for the emotion, I mean, what he's put into
it already. Are you?
No. I mean, genuinely, my expectation level of Hodgson, of Slot was Hodgson-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was better than that, so you can't fail to be. I love his controlling manner, whereas Klopp was all about, dare I say, actually, the analogy's here, isn't it? So I'm all about, obviously, just rock and roll, passion, going out there, chaos. And he's all about organisation and control. I mean, that's it. That's a cut. We're done.
Yeah.
So Klopp.
For me.
For Klopp.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's been really, really unlucky, wasn't it? That at the time that he was doing it, winning, what was it, getting 97 points and everything else, that was the time when obviously City were cheating. Take that, Peter Knight. Yeah, calling you out, Knight.
Peter Knight, it's got to come on now.
And also Morris Kilbride, but I think most people will know Knighty.
Right, here we go, Simon. Gates. Gatesy. I'm just going to call you Gatesy today.
Yeah, call me that.
Go for it, like football.
I'll just go with Jurgen Klopp. I would say, I am like the Arnie Slot, but I'd much prefer to be the Jurgen Klopp. Imagine being in his brain for a day. Like, not Klopp's, Simon Wales.
I was going to say, it's a horrible place.
But an interesting place.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's never dull.
Never dull.
Yeah, you just have to format it at night.
Who wrote those introductions, by the way?
That's what
he did.
Did you actually? You wrote that about me?
No, you didn't.
As if I'd do the detail.
GPT.
Okay.
Have you? Have you done it? I mean, for all those narcissists out there, I did it. You can go down a rabbit hole.
Today,
it is absolutely when you get into it because it starts pandering to you as well, which of course is even better. It's got me in the way that the Facebook algorithm is teeing up all. It gave me Facebook algorithm teed up male nappies the other day.
Oh God!
I mean, you know how
seen your TikToks.
What?
Your TikTok.
Honestly, so Dan, who's behind the scenes today, you've got to check him out.
Stop the guffawing.
Yes, stop the guffawing. Check him out on TikTok. But look, guys, here's a big question about the industry, about what we're all passionate about.
Oh.
Data.
Ooh.
Gatesy. PropTech. Mr. Whale.
As in that's the use
Data v PropTech. Tool or trap? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
He knows it.
Gatesy, over to you.
I would say trap because how many pieces, and just answer this with one word, please don't go off on one. You know what you like.
10 seconds.
How many pieces of PropTech does an agent?
24.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 24.
Not 20. Average.
No, 24.
24, okay. 24.
But just to be clear, that's not just PropTech, that's 24 suppliers, so there will be board contractors in there. But 75%, I would say, of those are tech.
Okay, so 75% of those being tech. Like, Matt, you think back to your early days as an agent and, like, doing a board check or something. Like, all the things you did back in the day, agents moan they don't have time now. And I think it's just, like, the whole magpie syndrome of chasing after all these different bits of tech. Like, it just is a madness to me. Like when I first started, you'd ring out 100 applicants when a house came to market. You'd print off 100 sets of details, put them in an envelope, frank them or stamp them, go to the letterbox. You're old enough to probably remember putting the Polaroid picture on the actual piece of paper and all that.
I do.
Right?
That's one of my first jobs.
So when agents now say, I just don't have time, it's like, but actually you could go and put a video on social media and be in front of 10,000 people. Yeah, you had to make 100 phone calls, which could take hours.
I think we forget we're in sales. I think one
of the most basic things is we're in sales, and there's a lot of sales staff out there who are afraid of the telephone. That's one of the most.
We're going to touch on that and as to why.
But just going back to what Gatesy was saying there, I think it is. First of all, I was.
Were you trap as well then, or are you?
I think I am. Yeah, because to be fair, that's what kerfuffle's about, isn't it? It's hard enough for us as train spotters to keep up. I always talk about, look, that everyone talks about this tech stack, but if we're honest, it's much more of a Jenga pile that people have just gone, oh, I like that one, Andy out Little Britain style, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not all thought about. It's not strategized. So you pull out one of those things, it can all fall down. I mean, I was just googling under here what's a board check and what's an applicant. That's separate, just to show how oh god, just to show how amateurish I am.
We're off and running, guys. We're off and running.
Just to prove, I'm never good with holding.
Just come
things.
a bit close to the mic because these people can't hear you.
I know, and they do need to hear this gold dust. So I think it is a trap, and it is very. I mean, it's understandable why. One of the things I think we need to shoot down is that lots of people find it very fashionable to have a pop at a state agency for being Luddites and anti-tech. That's just not true at all. Don't get me wrong. There is that kind of herd mentality aspect and everything else that people. But that's just it. That's everybody, isn't it? There as well. But and by the way, you asked there 24 different suppliers. That's gone up from when we started 6 years ago. From I think it was 19 or something like that. So there is increasing amount of willingness to use stuff. And by the way, the biggest amount of additions to obviously the Kerfuffle website now, and we're not comprehensive, I don't believe at all, with over 1,000 there. The second, if you like, a huge addition of PropTech is obviously around the AI explosion, which I know we're going to come on to now. Yeah. But that's going to, obviously there's so much ubiquitous coming in from there.
We've agreed with each other there.
And I know you want. This is a crap start.
Yeah, we want to disagree. So I'm going to disagree with something.
I thought you might have gone slot as well.
No, said before.
Okay. No, but the saying estate agents are not Luddites. If you think of you still think today, so many estate agents let's use, I don't know, Street as an example, where you can book into a diary online. How many estate agents go, I don't want anyone having access to my diary?
It's not about whether the tech can do it, they just don't want to allow it.
Yeah, so they are so far behind the times.
Why do you think that is, though?
Control.
Because I also think estate agents are scared of losing their jobs. It's that classic line of AI won't replace you, someone using AI will replace you. So my early days at Home Search, when you say to negs of a big organisation, you click a button, letters get sent out, I saw fear in their eyes. I was like, what's wrong? But 2 hours of my day is putting leaflets through doors. So are they just going to make me redundant if I haven't got a job soon? No. The letters are there so that you can be on the phone doing good old-fashioned estate agency, which is having conversations, building relationships. So I still think having been an estate agent my whole adult life and then going to home search, I oh my God.
Was that a massive
couldn't believe
shift?
how far behind the times estate agency is.
Right.
Like,
Because you saw more.
Yeah.
You were exposed to everyone as such.
Just the whole tech.
That's how he got business, exposing
He
himself.
exposed himself to
Why are you
everyone.
revealing my secrets?
Wrong
What are you
phrase,
doing?
yeah.
But just coming back, you both made some great points there. Just coming back to what you were saying about the fact that I think people are trying to introduce tech into their businesses.
Yeah.
But are they doing it reactionally rather than strategically?
Absolutely, 100%.
Right,
So one of the key things there is they will solve. I think.
And where do they start?
Well, a classic example is whatever's just hit them that day and realise. So a classic case would be got a problem with the the end of tenancy element there. They see Christian Byfield talking about the depository there, so they'll go out and just say, well, we're going to get that on board.
Yeah.
Is he there? Well, of course he is. Yeah, and that. So they will do that, and they'll get something that solves which is understandable, solves a particular need there, but they're not thinking about the wider journey, are they? And what's about it? The biggest reason why any tech fails in a business is because you've thrown too much tech at them recently as well, and the staff can't can't onboard it and cope with it. They haven't got the bandwidth. What we advise people to do, and it's a really simple one, is my firm belief from experience is you can really only adopt a serious bit of tech every 2 to 3 months and do it justice. So that gives you a tremendous. If we're here almost halfway through the year, there's probably 2, 3 max different bits. Plan it out in that way. That's the strategy you need to come at. And there will be an obvious first one to go for. So if you're looking at, by the way, if you're looking at CRM, wipe out the rest of the year. That is a 6-month project in itself.
Yeah. And it's scratching the surface, isn't it? It's not really getting any impact. Do you think it's because they don't have time or they don't have a vision?
They don't make time. So when as you know, I'm a big learner and implementer. And when the estate agents say to me, I don't have time to listen to a podcast. And I say, does every single viewing you do turn up on time? Fucking never turn up. They're always late, Simon. Right. Okay. So
and
with that extra
driving to the appointment.
Yeah, you're driving to the appointment. So
No
that
extra
5
time.
minutes, 10 minutes that they haven't turned up, can you listen to 5 minutes of a podcast? Or
do you know what? That's such a great point. I remember when I was working at Countrywide, I had the Brian Tracy, these big pack of CDs that I'd just put in the car, Tony Robbins, and it was an hour both ways. I got 2 hours of learning every single day.
They talk about the university in the car and with Audible and all the free
100%.
stuff these days.
Yeah.
And you've got amazing tools like Blinkist, that will summarise all the books as well for you as well. You're right. There is no excuse.
It's a myth. It's like if you go onto your phone and I mean, God knows what it'd be for Whaley, but the amount of time you spend on social media, the amount of time you spend on your phone a day. Now, if you think pre-social media,
what do you think that is? What do you think the average is?
Person's 3-4 hours a day on their phone?
That's more than that. What do you think?
And it's ego.
I mean, his will be 10 hours, I reckon.
It's just TikTok.
I went
dancing.
to an event recently where they kind of did that in the room, and it was like top trumps, and someone literally was 10 hours.
Yeah. Age's biggest issue, let's stop the podcast now, is being bad busy. How many? Any one of us here knows when we walk into an agency office, within literally 30 seconds, whether they're successful. If there's a buzz, if there's people on the phone, if there's the tumbleweed going round and nobody comes up to meet you, and they're looking into their computers. I'm a bit stalky, as you know, which is why I've got a tag on, and I always spend just a moment looking. Hi. It's why.
That's my wife, by the way. She's a massive Simon Well fan.
I do genuinely like to look at that, and they spend so long thinking, oh God, what a day I've had, and it's just retweeting shit. It's ridiculous. It's figure out what those, and it's cheesy phrase, but what are the dollar productive stuff, and being really honest with you as to whether that's delivering. And take some of it away to do the stuff there. The Aussies and the Americans, and this is, I know everybody hates hearing from this, they have a much bigger appetite for self-development than we do at the moment over here.
And sales.
Yeah.
And sales. I mean, funny enough, I'm dealing with a guy, he's in Australia, I'm dealing with his grandparents' sale. It's a probate sale in St. Neots, and he works for Rubenstein Group.
Yeah.
And he's a real, yes, that's it. But he's a real straight shooter. Real straight shooter. Have you got offers? How many viewings are going in? What are they saying? What do we need to do?
You don't want details, do you?
No, he ain't interested in the data. He really isn't. He just said, Matt, I need offers.
Look, and again, you told me I wasn't allowed to, but I don't play by the rules. The reason we've got Josh Fegan over for our conference is he does not let you off the hook. And actually, I will do it.
But do you think, is that because in Australia, they don't want to be let off the hook?
No, exactly.
Whilst in the UK, they do.
That's it, because, the easiest thing, we're all a member of groups and things like that. The easiest thing you can do, and it's difficult for the person who's the mentor, guru, trainer or coach to hold those people because it can result in some difficult things. The truth of the matter is, it's when you're taken out of that comfort zone, and I try to wriggle out of it, but when you are held to account, that's where the good stuff happens, isn't it?
Would you... Sorry,
I was going to say, you said something to me a while ago. I can't remember the exact conversation, but something along the lines of you saying to saying to Josh Fegan, when are you going to stop coming over here and telling us how to do our job? And he was like, when you fucking implement the stuff I tell you.
When you actually do it.
Like, if you do it, I won't have a job.
Here's an idea. Why don't you phone everyone in your database who's a past client? Fucking wow.
So what percentage of estate agents do you know that you work with or come across that actually understand accountability, A, and equally get held accountable in return? Because people would maybe associate that. Yeah.
I think you've been
That's
kind,
not
even saying 10%.
What do you think as the listener? I mean, it's an interesting question. And what does accountability actually do in terms of performance? What are your... Because I know we've had conversations in the past about this.
I was surprised when I started my consultancy business, but there are actually a lot of people who just need someone.
Opening the gates.
Opening the gates. Number one podcast in the country.
Small niche, by the way. It's like being the healthiest person in Scotland.
I do like to tell people I am a top 1% podcaster in the world. Just saying. Okay. Anyway, because I'm so modest, I'm not normally accountability.
I've held him accountable.
Where people, people just like, could you just book a call into the diary? So I've got one agent where I catch up with him 7:30 on a Monday and a Thursday. We're not chatting loads of like strategic ideas. It's like, did you knock those doors? Did you send those letters? Did you It seems mad that someone would need that. But again, you have like he's in the best nick of his life, isn't he? And you're taking inspiration. You're looking unbelievable. I'm going the other way.
Low bar.
But you still have a personal trainer, don't you?
Oh God, yeah.
Do you think if you didn't have that personal trainer?
I know what he's going to ask. I know what he's going to say, and I know what he's going to do. So it's really, really good stuff. But do you think it's because there's so much noise around, which we've touched on, that the people that are in a estate agency today, it's almost like they're just floating. No one's pinning them down and going, right, if you do these things consistently and actually offer out that opportunity to be held accountable, because what sort of impact on performance will it actually have?
So on that, so I appreciate, I don't like the podcast should be like us disagreeing with each other and on the floor fighting, play fighting later. We did that before. But then also, I'm very prepared to come here and be controversial, but it fucks me off when like employers get annoyed at employees. I'm a prime example. We've heard the story a million times. When I came to you and said I'm not getting the support I feel from my employer, I'm going to go and spend my money, take holiday, whatnot, to go and learn from the best. So it really frustrates me. I can understand some people just want to go to work 9 to 5, take an hour's lunch, take all your holiday. I wasn't that guy, but the amount of people there are in this industry who will be like what I was, I very rarely see it. Although the self-employed world has meant those kind of people have gone on to do their own thing. Can
I take it back to the beginning in terms of what you were talking about? And I think there is a link here, a nice segue, and it's about that point about the tech. And you're saying is we've got more tech than we've ever got before, and yet it's taking longer to sell the bloody properties, the pipelines and turning end there. Gap of samples we were talking to the other day was highlighting that you used to be able to turn it 3 or 4 times. You're lucky if you get it twice now, and everything else there. It is ludicrous, that situation that tech has failed us so badly. And yes, we can have a pop at governments of all flavours on that. Coming back to this though as well, one of the key elements about it is because we're all having to do far more with less staff. Office numbers, obviously, numbers of agents per office have dropped, so we're all spinning many more plates. I don't know. I've been trying to actually find this out on a separate thing.
Why is that?
But I think it's just
cost of employing, cost of hiring, cost of retaining.
Even without minimum wage, NI and all the rest of it, the trend has been down.
Cost of accountability, if you go back to what we were just saying, because if you've got people, they're your biggest investment.
Yeah.
And if they're not being held accountable, they are a cost.
But the problem with this is when you've got so many spinning plates, by definition, it's then very difficult to specialise. And if you can't specialise, you're being average across loads of different things.
Yeah.
The best businesses, without a shadow of a doubt, those businesses that have been able to invest in client service departments that can specialise and make sure the prospecting happens, or, and this is an absolute a truism, those that manage to have operations managers, and clearly not everyone can have that, but people like the fantastic SJ at Preston Baker and people like that, these people that are there to handhold, make sure the projects are delivered, that is the secret sauce I see. But not every business has that ability. So then you have to deal with, obviously, not have to, you want to deal with the likes of Batesy.
You let that one slip, didn't you?
It's amazing what they say, truth. But it is, that's where you do need that support.
Is it just a low value priority for most agents? Is the fact that they don't want to feel like they're back in the corporate world, maybe? They're for independents, even self-employed agents. They want to be free.
They want to feel they can be nimble and, change and
agile.
do stuff.
Well, are you saying on that self-employed thing, I might be going off on a tangent here, but someone goes self-employed. So actually, let's take you as an example, and this is my opinion rather than yours, but you've left a corporate environment.
Yeah.
You've gone and set up your own estate agency, and then over time, it's grown and grown and grown, and arguably it then gets to you need to manage people and have KPIs and targets. Yeah. So you've got a lot of people going self-employed. So I'm going to give a bespoke boutique one-on-one service. Next thing you know, 2 years down the line, they've got a team and they've got a high street office.
Well, if they're leveraging, if they're able to outsource, if they're able to manage people.
Outsource again is the key. I'll give a really good example here. So we monitor through a lot of the software. We got review and reputation software, which allows you to look at how agents are doing across all the main ones, Google, Trustpilot and everything else. Now, when we did, and it's changed recently, but when we looked at the original stats, the top 500 individual branches, something like 60 or 70% of those were corporates. Now, do we really believe that they are delivering that much better a service than the strongest independents? Absolutely not. What they categorically have is marketing teams who actually look seriously at reviews. They're often using review and reputation software to manage it. Yeah. So there is so to the public, and let's be honest, the public, they know Google, they believe and trust in Google, don't they? Who are they meant to expect to believe in? So that is a really good example there of when you have those bigger resources, what you can do with it. And I suppose that's an obvious point, but it needs to be made.
You get agents who'd say to me, who are the more boutiquey ones, they're like, I don't understand why that big business over there is still like getting through doors
all the time.
And it's like because they're on Google, they've got the reviews there. What's the you said it at the RAN conference last year, and then I asked you about it on my podcast, available on Apple and Spotify. Open gets more listens. The number of reviews the average agent has or something.
Oh, what was it? It was. I think it was 79 5-star reviews on Google, which is if you think about that. You're listing 10 and selling that many over the course of a year. You're not even, and you're doing it for both the buyer and the seller. You're not even in just 1 year managing to get half of those ones to leave you a strong review there. And most of these businesses have been going for a huge period of time. It's a really good point there. We are crap as a country at asking for reviews. I know this is going on my little specialist subject there. Brits, unless you say that was brilliant, we tend to cherry pick, don't they? And there's very few businesses, apart from the likes of YouMove and Manning Stainton and people like that, who go out and ask every one of their clients because they genuinely want to hear it. They do things like net promoter scores because actually, yes, it might be a bit uncomfortable at first, but it is the best benchmarking you have for success.
What are those businesses like at prospecting, getting on the phone, speaking to people? And the reason I ask that is because if your business culture is we want feedback, you tend to find the businesses that I've worked with, they're quite keen to talk to people.
Yeah, I think that's that surely has got to be ultimate. If you come back down to it again, is what should tech be doing? It's helping you do more with less, but it's the whole threat of AI and everything else. It's freeing you up. I'm absolutely sure you might like time out of the office, but you don't want to be doorstepping, do you? That's not an enjoyable thing. You want to be doing the stuff that earns the big bucks.
Well, let me start with, I tell you what, you two have just partnered up. You could
Simon.
You could kind of see that, couldn't you? The simple Simon. No, sorry, the clash of the Simons. But it's your first date. Let's say you're just starting your estate agency right now. What do you go to first, team or tech?
I'll be going to our lawyers.
You probably ought to get a HR department as well.
What is it, the old David Brent? Put that in the filing
Team or
cabinet.
tech? Are you going, I need to get the team around me, or do I need to get the tech around me? What's your first option?
I would go team, because you need the right people on the bus.
Okay.
You can have the best tech in the world, but if you're working with dickheads, tech doesn't matter.
Which is the founders we already are. It is actually, to disagree again though, there is an argument that you actually do start the tech thing. So all the brilliant stuff you do with
now
things like
you're
Proper.
talking my language. There's a debate going on here. Tell me more.
Well, one of the other things, let's take it as well, is like the arse has fallen out of the market, which is a technical term. And I was talking to the likes of Ian White and Adam Walker, and full sales businesses, the multipliers just aren't there. Perversely, that is then the absolute best time to buy a business rather than start yourself. And then you've got that database to go after. Well, what do you want to do? Do what that previous owners didn't do and actually talk to your previous clients. Work the data there so that actually you're creating in the background. So yes, you've got to be able to service that, but then you can build the team around it rather than a cold start.
So this is your new business. Would you acquire?
Oh, definitely. I'd get on.
Who would be your target?
Langlo Ellen, fantastic ran agents.
Is that because of the data, their brand?
On the letting side, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? You're buying recurring revenue, and you've just, it's just.
Go on.
Ooh.
I
two disagreements.
I can understand there's and I've been saying this for a while now. That would see the obvious continued rise in the self-employed world, and there continue to be lots of acquisitions. Why does a business like Langlo or whoever it be, why do they not use systems out? I'll use Propult as an example, where literally you can see there is such a rise in portfolio landlords and they're in a company name. Why do you go and spend loads of money acquiring a company when you can literally go directly to Matt Giggs of Matt Giggs Limited and go, hey Matt, you own 20 properties, any chance I can manage them?
I guess because like acquisitions in the PropTech world, you're getting them all over in a one, aren't you? They are such a look. You'll know the conversion ratios, but those people don't move willingly and quickly, do they?
So is that the instant gratification world we live in now?
Who you're talking to? Yeah. Well, instant gratification. And it's all about what those guys factor in, of course, is you're going to lose maybe a few landlords, but you always over-egg how many you're going to do. So as long as you're getting that right, the multiplier right, you arbitrage that in. Look at the likes of LRG. Look at these businesses where they layer it in, and then they literally are creating money out of nowhere because they know that they can do it more efficiently than independents.
Fair point.
Are they acquiring better? Are they acquiring better than the big corporates? Those kind of companies. So,
what, Langlo?
Well, the ones that you brought
so
up.
Langlo, I think they could
because there was a lot. Going back to when I was at Countrywide, the reason why I asked this question is purely personal, because I remember when Countrywide were just on this acquisition mayfair.
There's never one of the biggest changes to the industry is not the threat that the old online agents, the Purple Bricks, used to do. The biggest change to this industry is the mergers and acquisitions has largely, we now have 80% of the industry being 1 and 2 office agents, and then these super Goliaths like property franchise groups, aren't they? That have grown there. And that middle slug of fantastic agents, the Gibbs Gillespies, the Northfields of the world, who have all had to exit at some stage. And what's not happening is those 1 and 2 office agents aren't growing at a pace that's filling it up. So it's a complete two level.
So if you're one of those industry. 1 or 2 office agents, how do you acquire? What's the strategy?
Well, first of all, you get a bigger multiplier because you're bigger. So you should be looking at partners too, whether that's through acquisition or partnership to make that happen anyway there. Yeah. So look at people like Benji at Hatton Home. He's one of those few ones, isn't it, that's grown at scale and there. So he will be on the radar now for all those much larger ones because there's few ones there. Chancellors went the other day. So I know I keep mentioning them, but Manning Stainton, of course, will be a much more valuable entity going forwards. That's where I think.
So Ben's not acquired, that I'm aware of, hasn't
he? No.
Yet.
So I'm just talking about acquiring
so he's grown an incredible brand, hasn't he, in a very short space of time, which now puts him in a better position to acquire.
Yeah, I see where you're going this year.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, but and what you are right, but it is a rarity, isn't it? That's the challenge around it.
Well, just said that Simon Gates was right.
I'm magnanimous. I'm the bigger guy, literally.
So we haven't touched on AI. It's got to be a subject worth discussing with you two gurus.
Not come across it.
Huh? Where do you see it in 5 years? Where do you see the industry in 5 years with AI in mind?
First thing is, before he goes on, it's a waste of time trying to do it because you're always going to overestimate some aspects of it and underestimate, because 2 years ago, whatever it is, you wouldn't have even guessed that AI would be talking about it. There was always machine learning. Then ChatGPT comes out and blows everyone's mind. What the key thing is the last year has really just been about content creation, marketing and ChatGPT. And that is the tip of the iceberg of what we're seeing now with AI, isn't it?
Is it going to be the place where people search for property?
Did you see the post that David Lindley put up the other day on LinkedIn?
He did, about Google.
ChatGPT saying I'm looking for a whatever type of house in this area.
I didn't see this. What was it?
So David Lindley put something into ChatGPT and went, I'm looking for a 4-bed detached in St. Neots at 700 grand. What have you got? And a bit of back and forth, and then it had 5 properties. But the links
from everywhere.
Yeah, but the links go through to your estate agent's websites. And again,
that's better.
Yeah, but again, going back to old school estate agency, you remember the days where someone would walk into your office, sit down, you'd make them a cup of tea, and you'd have your folder, and you go, right, this is what we've got available for you. The public would never obviously do that now. They go, why would I walk into offices, or why would I even ring estate agents when I can just go on Rightmove? So I think, again,
that's a massive behavioural shift.
Yeah, so that's what
I remember when Rightmove was launched in 99, 2000, Ian Wright's campaigns and all of that kind of stuff. And as an agent on the ground floor, it was like, what a fucking waste of time. What a waste of time. Within 2 years, the quality of the leads overtook the phone calls.
Yeah. But also, it was also breaking that kind of the black book element of agents, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it used to be, you talk about, here's the ones here, and you go down to the special drawer then, don't you, as well there? Adam Walker actually did a brilliant one at one of his training things when he was doing the training, and he made the point, what Rightmove was the move to Rightmove was about is, it used to be, here's the details, you're the expert, they come to you because they know you're the arbiter of truth. And then what Rightmove was is about throwing all of those brochures into the street and letting them self-service, and you've lost control. So what you've seen people try to take that back by having confidential properties. You've seen on the market with the early bird and things like that. I think that, but it's a very difficult gradual process, isn't it, to make that happen? And maybe AI, people should be talking to everyone. I think is get following the people who are on the ball. So the Mal McCallins of the world, the Simons here, those guys who are looking at all of these sort of generic ubiquitous tools out there, and how it's going to relate to a estate agency. Simon's talking at a conference again, plug, and you're talking about some of those tools, aren't you? What
conference is that?
This is the Kerfuffle Conference at Wembley Stadium. Tickets half price.
Anfield South.
So, but you are, aren't you? You're talking about these tools that are there available for all agents that they just don't
Whale
know
Aid?
I am wearing.
Anyway,
I am getting the Freddie live. Yeah, it's there.
Sorry, I was just going to come back just very quickly because I want to go back to where I cut you off, and I'm sorry about that. But you were talking about the Rightmove journey at that beginning. And where were you getting to that?
The point I was going to make was I understand David's post on LinkedIn and where that could potentially go. But you've kind of got the changing the behaviours of the public, but then you've got estate agents as well. And going back to like the Luddite thing, when we went into COVID and Rightmove had their Ratner moment, and we're like, no, you're still paying fees, whatever. And Home Search came out. That's when I joined.
Rightmove did give biscuits though. That was quite a nice touch.
But Home Search came out and said, right, we're going to do this thing. It's a portal, but not a portal.
Yeah.
And then actually, we got loads of like agents saying, yeah, it sounds really good, And then once it actually came to it, they go, oh, it's a bit harder. It's a bit like On the Market 10 years ago. So at Michael Graham, we were founding members. And I remember a board meeting where we were told, right, here's all the On the Market leaflets. When you're going out on appointments, tell people to sign up to On the Market, and our properties go there and our website before Rightmove. But all the other managers would just put them straight on Rightmove. So you get to the board meeting.
It's like conditioned behaviour.
Yeah, but I think because someone would go, well, the other agent told me we can have it on Rightmove today or by the end of the week. You're telling me that you've got a delayed strategy. So it's like trusting the process. But the other things as well, things like, what's a good example, Uber, or you've mentioned Tinder earlier, or Deliveroo. People go onto these things, again, just go, right, there's a taxi. I know it's 5 minutes away.
That's the
right, I can flick through and choose who I want to go out with. I can choose my food. So, for example, do I fancy curry or do I fancy Chinese? Curry's going to get here quicker. I choose that one on Uber Eats. So I think that's where the change in behaviour for the public, and the public, you think of all the prompts, like you're only as good as what you put as a prompt into ChatGPT. The average person, are they going to go onto ChatGPT and, for fuck's sake, like, I've said I only want to be on this side of town. I want a south-facing garden, whereas they just sort of go on Rightmove and it's there for them.
But one of the key things there is you're not then being judged just against other agents. You're being judged against other industries as well. So you said it before, that ability to not even be able to book in an appointment, the public just can't get that, So why on the main portals can't they WhatsApp in? I mean, how mental is that?
You think the most common buyer group of first-time buyers, about 1 in 3 buyers first-time buyers. The average first-time buyer is early to mid-30s. So you think those people coming through now who can book a table at a restaurant, get an Uber, book a holiday, and then they go to view a house and they're like, oh, I need to wait for the estate agent to ring me at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning when I'm in a meeting. And it's the same with the conveyancing side of things. So plug for open move here. But you think, again, if you're buying your very first house and you're like, wait, so I need to ring or email a solicitor or an estate agent to find out what's going on. Whereas they should probably think they could be sat on their sofa of an evening, click a button and go.
So we can I just? I'm going to answer your question because Simon hasn't. No, so as usual, I'm stepping into the fore here. So you asked what it will look like in 5 years' time.
5 years.
Was that the question?
That was the
was ages ago.
It's all right. So we're coming back.
So
great job.
The key element of what is going to be the difference there is, and to be fair, as Simon made the point there, is about waiting for the agent to come in the morning and then deign to give them a ring. And by the way, that's the good ones. All of the stats that we hear back time, and lots of people don't come back within even a couple of days. Those that were going to be using the right CRMs, the right lead management tools, and crucially the right AI, doors are irrelevant. You are going to have a strategic advantage over everybody else because you are dealing 24/7 with the ability to deal with anybody there. They're able to self-service to the degree they do, giving you the control back to concentrate on the really productive conversations. That's the critical element to what's going to happen over the next few years.
I'm an agent at heart, and I walk into my day and there's 4 appointments. I haven't got a clue who I'm going out with. Yes, I can try and gather as much information from the system as possible because they'll have filled out some kind of form. Is there a danger, though, that you're creating appointments for us as an estate agent that are just maybe time wasters? So your time's going into clients that I'm just asking.
The first thing I would do, by the way, is ban the phrase tyre kickers and time wasters.
This is for the pod. But
No, but I do get it, and it's a serious
because
point.
Because there's a lot of people, though, that go out viewing and they've got no intention of buying. There are.
Now,
and if they've got more access to that.
But they might be in the future. And again, when Alexander Phillips came over, one of Australia's top ones, and he was talking about which, let's be honest, lots of those, I mean, I know they've tightened up on it and tried to get better quality leads, the portals, but he loves the portal leads because when an agent gives up, obviously, if somebody who's inquired hasn't transacted in a week or two, most people give up. He puts them in a proper nurture, a proper funnel, and then makes sure that they're going to be, whether it's uncontended, less contended. That's why you should be looking at this stuff. I mean, Simon deals with the data all the time. He's going to be better. But I know that's what the best agents look at.
Well, at least you're in a conversation, is what I would say to an agent. If you're meeting someone like
you've got to kiss a few frogs, haven't you?
You've got to kiss a few frogs. And
I get back to my exes.
Well, actually, but the downside is you end up, like you say, having that meeting, creating a great first impression, putting them somewhere in the funnel that gives them the content that they need, and then you're ahead of the rest. Time.
Yeah, I'd disagree with the statement of the time wasters. But going back to a point I made earlier, I said to an agent, do you ever have people who are late for viewings? And they say, yeah, all the time. Okay, you could have been listening to a podcast, whatever. When you have someone view a property, they walk. Thank you very much.
It's a great host, isn't he?
People walk into a house, and you're flogging a dead horse.
Yeah.
They're in and out in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, that could be a great opportunity to just do a quick selfie or a video, put it on the social, saying out here today at Goldsmith Drive doing some viewings, or you could go put some leaflets through people's doors. So I'm a big fan of like James Clear and habit stacking. So it's like if you're already out there,
do it while you're there.
Do it whilst you're there, and when you were saying what you were both saying, it made me think back to when we used to do rental viewings and we used to hate it because you put a two up, two down on the market
inquiries
and it'd just go mental and only one person could take it and it'd be really annoying. But actually, if you went back through that data and went, how many of those people who viewed who don't get it are in rented
and will be buyers,
but also they already are in rented. They're going from a 1 bed to a 2 bed, 2 bed to a 3 bed. They're probably about to go find something through someone else. They're probably about to give notice to their landlord. Most properties are self-managed. Get the landlord's details from those tenants. So I don't think there's going to be 1 or 2 time wasters.
So in 5 years, do you see the landscape changing? Because I feel it's shifted a lot in just the last 5 years. I feel like a lot of things have changed, and
we've had more in the last 5 years than probably the
previous 20.
Than I think my whole estate career.
So how much do you see it changing for the agent doing their day to day? I mean, obviously we've talked about tech stack. how to speak to clients more, and all of those different things. Do you think that there will be that average of number of agents per estate agency office? Do you think that's going to continue to dwindle because of AI and support functions?
Probably so.
So the business owners actually start to feel like they can make profit.
Look, there is no doubt. So I'm using a tool at the moment, AI tool called Fixer, which essentially it works in Outlook and it comes up with replies for you. So it enables you to reply, 3 times more there. So those admin jobs, this is where, people who pretend that AI is not going to have any negative ones, aspects there. Marketing, yes, some marketeers will, but they will be able to do more with less. Again, going back to it, I think the job itself, if you break it down into the core elements, they're not going to be different. What is doing it is going to be there. So I firmly see that tech will be doing more of the heavy lifting in terms of admin and the data side of things, analysis, research there. You're going to see, then you've got this, the top end here, and I'll come back to the middle bit in a minute. You've got the top, quality staff where we're going to have to pay them more, otherwise we're not going to get the quality. But because of things like NI, minimum wage and everything else, there is a bit in the middle that's the kind of the wasteland, which is like the tech can't do it. You don't want the top office staff doing it. And that's where I think you're going to see a lot going on with outsourcing to places like South Africa, Malaysia, this kind of VA model there. That's where I'm seeing it. I'm overplaying it that's normally the whale inflation factor there. There is people who are talking to a lot of PropTechs at the moment must think that we've been taken over by South Africa. Yeah. There are so many South African VAs now working for us. And by the way, of a brilliant quality, university standard there, the price point is good and everything else. So I think that's going to be the model looking forward. And I think you as a business should be looking down, working with consultants like Simon and being really honest in your good self and saying, look, okay, mark yourself in the key areas of your business that you do well in, top level prospecting, property management, score yourself out of 10. And if you're not doing well in that area, what can be done? Do you need coaching and training on your existing staff? Do you need technology? Can you outsource? And that's how you review
I genuinely think people who have got this far, thank you, well done. That's a huge congratulations. I think the three of us should do like a day, maybe later in the year, where we invite agents who do feel overwhelmed and drowning in so much information, and it feels like they're just sat on the fence at the minute rather than actually getting off and actually taking action and moving forward. But I think a lot of what you said earlier was about where are you heading, where are you going, what's the strategy? So once you've got your strategy, it's a lot easier to make the decisions around tech. When are we introducing this bit of tech? Yeah. Between February and April, this bit between June and September, and so on and so forth, and actually planning out the things that they actually need.
We do about 40 or 50 what we call supply reviews a month with agents, where we look at their tech stack and they come to us what they're thinking. And obviously, every one of those is the questions coming up about AI and when you get started. And it's a really key point. And the whole point is, you don't have to walk alone. No. To obviously nick at the old Liverpool analogy there. You've got so many people out there that you can do, but it's getting the ball rolling with this.
I touched on Rightmove, and I had a really good debate with Russell Quirk and
haven't heard of him.
Josh Rayner. He had a estate agency that went bankrupt.
Didn't really move forward, did it?
He's a top guy. But we were talking about Rightmove and AI, and where do we see the future of Rightmove? So, what's your thoughts?
Over to you.
I'm gonna probably get splinters in my ass from sitting on the fence.
Try not to.
But you look at it and you go, it just seems indestructible. Estate agents have this hatred for it, yet it's not going anywhere. But then you look at things like...
Is it a threat, though, at the minute, AI to Rightmove?
Well, going back to what you said earlier about how the public would be able to go to like ChatGPT and it will only get better and better and say, I'm looking for da-da-da-da. Because you think like, you can't go on to Rightmove and say, I want 4-bed detached, south-facing garden,
1 mile radius.
Must have solar panels, EPC rating A, plot size this, da-da-da-da-da. I want the neighbours to be this sort of age, for it's like all sorts of crazy shit. Rightmove wouldn't be able to do that sort of stuff.
I disagree. And the problem is we all look at this and we think about, is it going to challenge it? And we work on the basis, as an economist, ceteris paribus, that everything else remains constant. the idea that Rightmove won't be able to pull AI out as well to support them and twist with this. They might not do it at the speed that everybody else is out there, but they can sit, they can watch. The thing you can't break, and this is the point about it, the amount of times when I was at Repit that we'd hear about, here's another portal's trying to break into the world, they're going to take Rightmove. What have you got? And even when they had deep pockets, as we've seen with many of them, once that is in the public persona that you Rightmove for property, you don't replace that overnight. No. So whenever we see people who are coming into it, almost don't bother trying to take them on and have the most realistic timescales, 5 to 10 years, just to become relevant yourself rather than taking down Rightmove. Just that I can't see the point.
That was my point before he really cut across me. Was that are they going to be like a Blockbuster to Netflix, right? Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix, and it's like an overused analogy, and they didn't, and we know where that went. Our Rightmove sat there going, we get how powerful AI is, but actually do we need to do it because we've got estate agents wrapped around our little finger?
That's exactly why, that's the question that a lot of people are asking. And, bearing in mind, they're advertising listings for the client that's the agent, and the agent, their client, a lot don't appreciate Rightmove. Let's say that as a fairly sit on the fence kind of statement.
Just one quick one on that. When we do those reviews on a monthly basis, we ask them to give net promoter scores for their existing suppliers. When they come to Rightmove every single time, we pay too much and there's that room. What's really interesting is the best agents, as long as they can't be overheard, then go on to say how value that is.
Yeah.
Well, is there. We're able to save a couple of negs or whatever else there. It deals with all of our buyer leads and everything else there.
Yeah. But is it a tool that, if it carries on in its current form,
do you know what they should do?
Is it under threat?
Do you know what they should have done? As again, I can't believe Simon Whale advising the multi-billion-pound thing there. Rather than put 300 million back into dividends to keep that price up there, what I genuinely think Rightmove were brilliant in the early days were they would acquire or deliver new services, so there would be a price increase, but you would be getting a new service. Yeah. I reached out to them and begged them to buy us when I was at my previous place. Imagine if they had layered in, different CRM products. They'd gone out there and they'd layered in the likes of the Good Lord, or they go out and get a Christian at the depository. By the way, I get 15% Christian if they do it. But and on that basis, so on the one hand, loads of agents will be going, shut the fuck up, Simon. But actually, they were then able to say, we're helping you out with your whole ecosystem. So you are paying top dollar. So this bullshit thing where people try to downgrade from whatever it's called now, Optimizer. And it kind of like they'll find every which way to kind of not do that, won't they? And it actually doesn't end up, getting discounted. But imagine if you tried to downgrade and it meant you were going to lose your CRM, your rent tech and everything else there. That would be and that would solidify then their position and where they're going to do. And I think they'd deliver a much better service to the agents.
Likelihood?
There seems to be, and I don't know this because I never speak to the people at the board shared level. There seems to be, they concentrate on that element, don't they, of delivering what has been absolutely brilliant performance and everything else is very different. Where I do get a bit upset is there are some amazing people, in that business, the Marship sides, Christian Bolshans, lots of really good people who genuinely do care about what they're doing there. But what they're doing in the business on a daily basis, I don't think always comes through, because ultimately those decisions about how much they're going to charge and the double price increases comes from the shareholder board above them, don't they? So I don't know. I don't know. I've always thought that they could soften it a little bit, because I believe what they're doing at the moment is they're making brilliant bad profits. So that the minute that there was a credible contender, I think you would see the fastest collapse of a multi-billion-pound business ever. But credible's the key phrase there, and so if they were just to soften it and re-engage in a bit of a better way, which I think there are signs of them doing, then I think there would be their long-term survival prospects. Well,
I've been in a estate agent for nearly 30 years, so I'm quite a while for yourself, and you've been around the industry. People used to search, didn't they, in the newspapers? They used to go to the newspaper Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday night, whatever it was, and that would be the consumer were conditioned to look in that place. And I just thought that other consumers now, not just for property, they're shifting their searches into Chat GPT and those kind of AI functions.
It's fragmenting, isn't it?
It's fragmenting.
So social media is a good example of that, actually.
But that distorts maybe the data that Rightmove are able to share with you, maybe. I don't know. But it's an interesting journey ahead. But let's go back to the point. You started your team. You started.
Are we still on that?
You started with
It's
tech.
gone out of business, to be fair. Isn't it?
He hasn't picked up the phone yet.
Yeah, like
He's-
so many.
I don't even know where he is. He's
Yeah.
he's in London somewhere. But
I
anyway,
tweeted a couple of properties out.
Gates is looking at his data. But let's just go to it, because I think there's a lot of business owners that will be watching this and self-employed estate agents who are thinking, what do I do to move forward? What are the best moves that I can make in the current climate? And I know you do a lot around prospecting and stuff like that. How do you see prospecting in terms of estate agency earnings? Like, what's the amount an estate agent can win from prospecting, for argument's sake? Because that's one of your specialist subjects.
I think typically, and I don't know where the number comes from, but normally, like if someone would come to home search, for example, from another provider, they'd want to 10x their investment. So for every pound spent, they want £10 back. And that used to be a good measure on that. I think we hear the word prospecting and it sends shivers down the spines of negotiators. I think Stephen Brown has got some great language on it, and that he's heard over in Australia. I don't know if it's Josh Vegan or someone else, but talking about creating relationships.
Yeah, build relationships.
If you went into your office and said, guys, we've got a morning of prospecting. Yeah, but it's like, guys, you're going to go and phone people who you've dealt with before.
Do you know, it's such
Takes
an interesting point when I've kind of mentored people around the fact that there's a lot of people don't pick up the phone because they don't really either know what to say or they just fear some kind of rejection at whatever level it might be. Yeah. But if you said to the agents in the offices, if you pick up the phone, speak to, I don't know, let's say 50 people today and give them something of value, the chances are they're going to do it. So let's talk about what value can you bring, what value can you give? And actually that's starting that relationship process. I feel that's a bit that's really missing in most companies today, up and down the country.
So I used to be very good at staying on top of my database. So ringing up, hi, Mr. Giggs, how you doing? Yeah, all right, thank you. Oh, brilliant. Like that kind of, let's say, false rapport. And they'd be like, yeah, any thoughts about moving? No, all right, I'll call you in a month or 3 months, 6 months, whatever. In hindsight, and just purely turning up got me business. But in hindsight, if it was a, hey, Matt, did you see that 4-bed detached that sold on your street and got a record price? Would that speed up your move process if you could get 10% more for yours? Yeah.
Well, I've been kind of back on the front line here and there in the last 12 months. And I love WhatsApping someone a set of details on a property nearby and going, what are your thoughts on this one? Yeah. And you get engagement straight away. Then I'll drop a voice note, then they'll drop me one. And all of a sudden, should we chat tomorrow? Yeah, we'll chat tomorrow. And it's almost like a much softer but a more effective way of engaging with the customer with their end in mind, And I think that's the bit that we forget. I think estate agents so short-termism.
Well, if you're not using WhatsApp now, the only thing that has a higher open rate than obviously SMS, text messaging, and everything else is WhatsApp. Yeah. So tools like Stitch, SalesRook, SMS Speed Rate. If you haven't got that in your kit bag, you're genuinely working at a disadvantage because of those open rates. As long as you don't abuse that scenario and everything else there. But you know what? I think there are some really clever scripts as well around prospecting. I do know 100% now that is not the most important thing. So having gone and sat with some of the genuinely the leading ones like James Tostovan at Marshall White in Australia, who before Alexander Phillips was the main one, sat in one of his sessions actually with Richard Polframan and Nathan Emerson. We just sat there and watched, and I thought I was going to note down all the scripts, and I was like, this is it, I'll rebadge these back home. There was nothing like that. There was a little bit about, I saw you had your house re-renovated. Would you like us to come round? But what he was brilliant about was it was about staying in touch religiously, setting the expectation. Look, I'm only going to take a minute of your time. So he didn't.
That's a big one.
Don't take too long.
That's the big one.
It's massive because actually
people think you're going to be pitched at for 5 minutes.
You're pitched at for 5 minutes, and actually, you know what? You might have a wonderful conversation with them that time, but the next time you ring them and they say, I haven't got time for this. Yeah. So he's brilliant at that, and so that those people that he has spoken to for 20 and 25 years and never transacted with, but they have referred on. You've got that network effect at dinner parties and everything else. So the key thing is, it's the old night. Just do it. Just make the best ones I've seen, and de-teching it, although if we were honest, probably Excel should be supplier of the year in, year out, because that's what everyone uses. The best Aussie agents, when they worked their farm areas, their patches, and it was literally 6,000 households, was literally just having all of the addresses in a street, and they used to say, and it was used to be green, amber, red. If they'd spoken to them in the last 3 months, it was green. If it was in the year, it was amber, and then if they hadn't done it out of it. What an easy way that is to do on there.
So simple, such a simple system. But so that's a really interesting point around the green amber and getting an understanding of your market. You've got a market in your phone as well, right? Most people have contacts in their phone. How they approach them. I love some of the stuff that you were talking about with Phil Jones.
Yeah, Phil M. Jones.
Phil M. Jones. Because there's another Phil Jones, but there's a Phil M. Jones.
Yeah, don't confuse him with Phil Jones, the ex-footballer.
They sound like Bernard Jones.
That's true. That's true. So just tell us a little bit about some of his principles around.
So he is really big on language. So I don't think I've mentioned I've got a podcast. But yeah, Open the Gates for more listens on Apple and Spotify. Good episode with Phil M. Jones. His book.
He's sponsoring it now.
His book, Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents, is one of the best books an estate agent can read. So powerful. So if we go back actually to reviews that we were talking about earlier, simple question. So if you said something like, when people like say thank you, you're welcome, could you do me a small favor? I learned that from the book. People say in response to that, yes, or depends what it is. They don't say no.
Yes.
And then you go, would you
what sort of psycho says?
You'd be the only person who would say no, fuck off. But you say, could you do me a small favor? Yeah, of course. Would you be kind enough to leave me a review? So like something there. And then on the power of language, one of the brilliant ones for him, which helped me get a lot of podcast guests initially, was, hey Matt, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I've launched a podcast and thought you'd add tremendous value to the listeners.
Yeah.
So language is powerful. And going back to like the database side of things, hearing what you said about Australia, it made me think of Matt Steinwade and Lee Woodward. Again, both have been on the podcast, and they are unbelievable machines. Yeah. And with
when you say they're unbelievable, what is it that makes them unbelievable?
So when I have, it's like what you said about consistency. Like consistency is most.
So what do they do? Do they just set aside time every day to protect it?
I had someone on my podcast recently, Terry Robinson with Fine & Country.
Yes.
And he said, with Fine & Country, he goes out and hand delivers a Refine magazine and a bit like, again, you said, knock on a door, I'm Terry from Fine & Country. I know you're on the market. I just wanted to leave this magazine with you. Got to go. So they don't feel time pressure. I've said I'm leaving. And I said, but Terry, the amount of business you're doing these days, you don't still need to do that, do you? He went, absolutely, I don't need to, but I still do.
do it.
So Matt Steinwade, he will go out door knocking and sending out letters to his farm, even though he doesn't have to, because it just.
How does AI replace that? How does AI replace that?
Well, it helps it, doesn't it?
It helps it, but in terms of until they are literally robots, face to face is what it's about. I believe in this digital age. This is why getting together with like Gates.
It's lovely. It's brilliant.
It's more important than ever.
Humanistic skills. Yeah. There's a lot around that, and I'm going to ask you some more questions.
Add one more point very quickly, just in terms of like the phone book, and I'm going to average numbers now. But let's say you've got 1,000. An estate agent watching this is setting up tomorrow. They've got 1,000 contacts in their phone. And let's say probably 2/3 of the country are owner occupied. So let's say there's now 666 people in that phone book who are owner occupiers.
Yeah.
And then let's say some of those are couples, so split it in half, so 333. And then about 3% of people move every year. So all of a sudden you've got half dozen to a dozen people in your phone who are transacting. So literally just saying to them, hey, I'm an estate agent. Have you got any property related needs in the next
Tom Panos to say that's gold dust, Simon. That's gold.
That's gold, Simon. That's gold.
Oh, God, you're going impressions as well.
Did I?
That was good. I
wanted to ask you about the models, because it's worth getting your independent viewpoints on this, because you're observing the whole market with corporate model, self-employed model, hybrid. Self-employed models, are they the future or just a race to the bottom with less accountability? Because we asked about accountability earlier, and I thought I'm going to bring that question into this.
It can be, by the way, it can be a bit from column A, a bit from column B, can't it?
Go for it.
Yeah. So if I say on that accountability piece, it makes me laugh, and I don't know if you guys see this, but you see on LinkedIn someone who's started a new position at the best brokerage there is out there. So they're with this brokerage one day.
It's normally a game changer as well.
Yeah, 3 months later, this one. One more sale and it pays for itself. How many times have you used that line over the years?
I don't know if I invented it, but I certainly have hammered it to death.
But they'll go from one brokerage to another, and it's a bit like when I was at Home Search and people say, I've used this one, I've used this one, I've used this one. I'm like, there's a common denominator here. It's not the tech, it's you that's the issue with it. So
same with the model.
Yeah, I think it gets bandied about, but I'm sure I've heard 30-40% failure rate, depending on what you class as failure. But
isn't it like 94% of the realtors in America fail. I'm not sure exactly.
I think, and ultimately, it's the
stat.
ultimate accountability, though. So this is if it's their necks on the line. What you do see, and what is the point about? Yeah, at one stage there was over 1 million realtors in America, but the average amount of sales that were done because of that was 4 per one. So there's lots of literally they have the license, and they will literally sat around the dinner table. They hear somebody is going to sell. Well, I can represent you. You put it on the MLS. You can get it out there. There is definitely some people here who it's not going to be their main job, are they? And there's zombie agents basically out there.
Yeah.
But you look, we've got somebody local around here, haven't we, who used to be over at Thomas Morris, Katie Poor.
Yeah.
You know, she's gone out and done it. I think she's with EXP now. That perfect blend of brand and personality there.
Totally.
I think, look, regardless of it, you know, it's not going to take over the marketplace. But as Adam Day has always said himself, and I think you've been very vocal on this as well, is it's not about the key point here is, look, I don't believe, you know, I'm not having a pop at traditional agency. I just know that there's a space for this out there. That's the choice we're talking about, isn't it?
So what percentage of the market is in the self-employed?
A few percent. It's hard to decipher because of certain. You've got some traditional businesses who have kind of gone down the self-employed route with like partner agent associates, whatnot. But call it a few percent. But is it not? Is it maybe going to go the way of what Russell Quirk predicted? I mean, did he say 50% of the industry, obviously in his eMove days, was going to go online hybrid? And now we look at the Purple Bricks Yopa strike, etc.
There's no way I'm allowing Russell to be right on this. But
he
didn't
say
you know
that.
what it is? The Pareto principle's true here.
Yeah.
So you went back to how many are doing nothing and everything else. When we were looking, because we have the relocation agent network, so as part of that, we're trying to look at the best agents around the country. So we pore over all the data. And what I was really fascinated about coming out is, I don't know that agent. Who's that agent? And a lot of these were the branded agents from, you know, the likes of the XPs. And some of those, that 20%, they are smashing it, and they are smashing it in a degree that gives them the best work-life balance, best ability to earn themselves. So how can you shoot that down? And I think what's really interesting is a lot of the traditional agents, whilst they might not be, you know, shouting about it publicly, they're looking at launching it themselves.
Well,
in
that's
some
what I was going to
respects.
say. Do you think that's a good move or a bad move? Because you
Depends
know
about
they
focus.
may be a lot closer to achieving their goals if they stay on their own track, as opposed to trying to
think it
shift
really
the whole thing. Because it's not easy creating awareness and attracting brokers into your brand, and then there's the retention.
And you can cannibalize it. So
And
do you
you can
remember when
cannibalise it, the value proposition.
Countrywide gave that option, didn't they, where you could go for the low cost there, and so surprise, people went for that lowest common denominator. So I think, you know, understanding the focus and how you do it is critical. Lots of people
What I was meaning is that there are a lot of independent estate agents that are now creating arms for self-employed brokers, and they're doing it because I think they believe that if they don't, someone might leave, or
it's a retention tool.
It's a retention tool.
You,
Is that a good thing, or do you think you just get your model right first?
obviously, culture's a huge thing. I think someone who's a good example of that, Don Marcel, Lion Estates.
Yeah, he smashed it.
Arguably the best team within the brokerage system in this country. I spent time with him.
How many has he got in his team now?
Well, there were a dozen of us at an event in London on Saturday.
Brilliant.
Me being one of them, so call it 11. Although there's someone in there, I think sales regression, someone's photography.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're absolutely killing it. But that's where it feel you've got business owners in that room, but they're a team at the same time. So I think the traditional estate agents need to look at it and go, okay, if I've got Simon Gates, branch manager, like he can go off and set up his own thing in competition with me, or do I give him some equity or profit share or an increased commission? Because I think gone are the days of low basics and.
Didn't work with Easy though, did it? You know, and I think John Cook was quite, you know, honest about that. Really, that they rolled it out, obviously. And
But was that brand ever going to work?
well, the brand actually had recognition.
Is that a
didn't
classic
it? But I
case
don't-
To sell a house.
Yeah, well, clearly, you can make that argument very coherently. But I don't think it really. It was the model that didn't work there than the brand, wasn't it? I don't know.
Interesting. Got some quick fire questions because we are nearly wrapping up, guys. God, this is
Time flies when you're having fun.
I had loads of questions which I haven't asked, but I suppose that's just the way it goes. But
Round two.
question 1: which portal would you drop first if you had to?
On the market.
Ooh.
Gates, he said on the market.
I am gonna sit on the fence, and I'm gonna say is
Boring.
No, and I'll tell you why, because he's being a gobshite. is you
There's
analyse.
some good clips, Dan, in this. I reckon we've got a few little corkers there.
Analyse your leads and look at the cost per lead and the value on it. Some people like Zoopla clients who who was the brand that they acquired, and it still has resonant. It's still strong in some parts of London there. So it's
Prime location.
No, it wasn't prime location. I can't remember what the name. I'll wake up at 2 o'clock. I'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and shout it out there. So it is literally just a case of being absolutely every one of your CRMs. I'm not going to do it. Glow bricks. Drop glow bricks. There you are. Fish for homes.
Yeah, fish for homes.
That's how long I've been around, baby.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Right, another question. More dangerous to agents, bad tech or bad training?
Oh.
I'm going to say bad training. And I said, I know you said this was quick fire, but I will add a bit of meat to that bone.
Well, then add some meat.
I'm going to be ageist here, but when you tell someone you're an estate agent, they have a preconceived perception of who you are, what you are. And I think that's because of a bad reputation from the majority of agents who were agents in the 80s and 90s, yourself excluded in the mid to late 90s. You've got dinosaurs teaching other people how to be dinosaurs. And once those people are eradicated from the industry, we will have a better reputation.
Doris training Doris.
Yeah.
Go on.
I think it's got to be training, because you can have the best tech in the world. If you haven't got anyone, it's just a leaky bucket, isn't it? What's the point in doing it? So they won't even implement the tech in the right way. So training has to be. And one thing that does frustrate the crap out of me, you get so many people who do talk about, my team come first. We believe in training and development. The market takes a little bit of a dip, and the first thing that gets cut is the training.
Yeah.
At the very time you actually need it. Ludicrous.
Next generation coming through, lots on phones, YouTube, all of these different places. Do they value buying a home like previous generations? And are we looking at a shrinking market, yes or no, in the next 5 years? Sales market.
Can I answer it first again?
Ooh.
So I think that
I'll come up with the correct answer.
this just take all my good ideas then. Yeah. I think we're in this kind of culture at the moment, like the whole move to Dubai sort of thing, and you've got people who I respect a lot, but like your Daniel Priestley and your Simon Squibb, who are getting a lot of airtime at the moment, saying the Industrial Revolution is over, it's all about the digital revolution, 9 to 5 is gone, you shouldn't buy a house and get a mortgage, you should be renting so that you have flexibility. So if people are listening to those sorts of people, the confidence in going and buying houses will reduce.
There's some guys on Bartlett's podcast saying
Yeah, so quite a few people on Stephen Bartlett's podcast saying same sort of thing. I actually think that there clearly is still people wanting to get into the market because they've seen the wealth that their parents and grandparents have built over time. And very interesting stat for you. If you go, well, I think it's interesting. If you go back to the Nationwide House Price Index.
This was a quick fire round, by the way.
You go back to the Nationwide House Price Index. I'll just talk very quickly. 1952, 1953, 90% of the time house prices stay the same or go up.
Brilliant.
It's not going to change.
I think it is. I think
that's enough. Right, thank you very much.
Exactly right. No, it absolutely is. There's no doubt about it that people don't see quite that importance on it anymore. But that doesn't mean that there's not still a massive market for it.
You're selling your home tomorrow. What fee would you pay?
I'll go first. So the first thing I incentivize. So you come at me with your bullshit fee, whatever it is. But if you get over that amount, give them skin in the game to get the right fee, and then I believe that's performance-based. Performance-based, that's always for me.
Yeah, I like the skin in the game, so I'd work it both ways, very Perry Power-esque, have a price promise guarantee. So if you say my house is worth this, but you only achieve this, your fee goes down. But if you overachieve, then you deserve to get paid more.
Majority out from the shaft, isn't it?
But majority of the agents in this country, let's just call it 1% freeze, majority of the agents in this country are not worth 1%. I'd pay 2.5%, but most agents are not worth 1%.
And do you think trust's increased in a state agency in the last 10 years, yes or no?
I think it has. I do think that, I am seeing the better agents, but I think that natural sort of, or slag off the estate agents. I think so many agents, if you look at it, David Mintz, fantastic David Mintz, made the point, how many agents do so much for their local communities? When do you ever see solicitors sleeping out for the homeless? Conveyancers doing marathons and everything else. I'm sure there's loads of other things, but not like agents. And I think that ability that agents have been borrowing from what the Aussies are doing and doing much more with schools in a good way.
Yeah.
is fabulous.
Okay.
And so there will always be that
yes.
sneaky little thing. Absolute yes.
Absolute yes. Gatesy, last question.
Yeah, the data from Simon Ledbetter and Voice of the Agent shows that those who have not dealt with an estate agent don't have a trust for them because it's that, again, the generations before. Those who've had a dealing with an agent within the last 12 months, I think it is on the survey, are like, yeah, we trust them.
Yeah, nice.
So it's clear there is a reputation, but when they deal with them, they go,
It's a lazy urban myth.
Yeah,
and it's an opportunity, isn't it? As an agent.
Yeah.
Because you're up against the perception.
If you and then you just be the least shit.
Exactly.
It's like,
I just want to say a massive thank you, guys. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you on and giving up your time to come and join us over here in the studio today. So, a clash of the Simons. Who do you think had the upper hand? Who made more sense? Who do you think you believe more?
who'd you like to go out with more at night?
And on that note, it's a thank you from me and it's a
Thank you.
from
Enjoyed
us.
it. Loved it.
Thanks very much, guys.
Showdown,
Stay
SmackDown.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and
Block.
I'm going to get you guys to make sure you block this boy as well. Have a good one, guys. Take care.